Well, good morning and welcome, everyone. I'm Keeney Knudsen, the City of Phoenix Street Transportation Director. It's a pleasure to be here with you to officially wrap up the 2019 paving season for the City of Phoenix. I'd like to start with a few acknowledgments. Joining us today are Mayor Kate Gallego and, sorry, I'll clap. And we also joined by the chair of our Transportation and Infrastructure and Innovation Subcommittee, District 1 Councilwoman Thelda Williams. You'll hear from both of them shortly. I would also like to acknowledge our city manager, Ed Zerker, in the back. And then we also have the chair of our Citizens Transportation Commission, Jennifer Miller. And I would also, there's a lot of people here today, and I wanted to acknowledge members of my team from the Street Transportation Department. I know our Street Maintenance Division has been involved in this effort from the very beginning. Their leader, Mark Locke, our Deputy Director, he's actually not able to be here with us today. He's out meeting with some constituents to talk about street issues. But I did want the members of the Street Maintenance team to raise their hand, and the members of the Street Transportation Department to raise their hands. We're also joined by several of our key partners here in this venture of doing paving. I wanted to point out our contractors who, without their help and their assistance, wouldn't be able to complete what we were able to complete this year. M.R. Tanner, Sunland, and Talis. Thank you for all your hard work. We know we've kept you busy the last several months, and we will continue to keep you busy here in the near future. I would also like to thank them for sponsoring our coffee and refreshments for today. So if you haven't had a chance to get something, any refreshments, please do so. I would also like to thank the Hillside Church for graciously allowing us to hold our event here, to Reverend Sturgeon. I told them it's a great venue to be able to observe the work that we've done on Thunderbird Road behind us here. And I want to also like to thank our media partners, and we value your partnership and being able to recognize the great work we're doing here in the City of Phoenix. I did want to capture one more person before I turn the mic over here, and that's Deputy City Manager Mario Paniagua in the back, who just able to join us as well. So now I'd like to bring up to the podium Mayor Gallego, who can share a little more words about what we've been able to do here at the last 2019 paving season.
Thank you. Congratulations to our Streets Department Director, who has been very, very busy. We are here today to celebrate a 300% increase in the number of miles paved in the City of Phoenix. This work required almost 75,000 hours and over 500,000 tons of asphalt. We are now spending about 3 times as much on paving as we used to. I am thrilled to be here with our Transportation Subcommittee Chairwoman, who was my predecessor as Mayor of Phoenix. She has made the war on potholes a top priority, and we have beautiful streets to observe thanks to her leadership. So thank you for working very hard to make sure. And it's just been a very exciting year. 2019 has been a great year for me personally, but I think the Streets Department would argue it has been our best year for streets in the City of Phoenix. We asked those of you who are here today to do an amazing amount of work this year. We have a lot of catching up to do because we didn't have the resources during the recession to maintain our streets, and you stepped up in a big way. So round of applause for everyone who helped make this record-breaking season a possibility. We are now at a point in Phoenix where we had just had a major marathon call us and say, we need to shut down streets for our marathon, but we can't find sufficient number of barricades because you're using all of them for our street maintenance. So I consider that, as problems go, that is a good one. We have been able to do this thanks to a great partnership with our Citizens for Transportation Subcommittee, our Citizens Transportation Oversight Committee, as well as the support of our voters. Our voters stepped up and said, we want to invest in the future of our city. We are willing to put money into that investment, and the voters overwhelmingly passed the Transportation 2050 campaign, which helped provide some of the resources to make this increase in paving. We've gone out to our neighborhoods and said, where should we start? What are your top priorities? We held over 75 public meetings to get feedback. We've also used technological solutions to find out the areas of greatest needs. We heard great enthusiasm and a lot of to-do lists from our residents, and we have stepped up. This season may be over, but we are already busy preparing for pavement seasons taking place from 2021 all the way to 2023. We really appreciate all of you who have made this possible and made the future work possible. We are investing in the future of Phoenix, and it is a great day for our city. Next, I want to introduce our leader on these issues, Councilwoman Thelda Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I was driving over here across Thunderbird and I thought, where am I? This can't be Thunderbird. You guys did a great job, let me tell you. Drove right by here, had to turn around at the corner and go back. I really want to thank the citizens who made all the hundreds of phone calls to us talking about the streets in every single district. It made us realize how important it was, and yet you also passed the 2050 tax again, which allowed us to have the ability to fund $90 million a year for new pavement for 4 more years. So I really want to let everyone know how much I appreciate that. But then I want to thank staff. When you look at the entire city with horrible roads, you have to do a lot of surveying, planning, prioritizing, hiring. I think we hired every contractor we could find in the valley, and we're proud of that. We put a lot of people to work, and we're proud of that. We're going to keep you to work for a few more years. But the staff has done a tremendous job, and it might seem like it's simple, but when you think how many miles there are in the city and how many miles you've already paid, and to those people, if anybody's watching and saying, I want my road, I'll bet you're on the list. I guarantee you will have a new street. So again, thank all of you so much for all you've done, for the commitment you made to the city of Phoenix, and for the nice, smooth roads. Thank you.
So as you've heard from Mayor Kate Gallego and Councilwoman Williams, this year we paved more streets than ever. And thanks to the voter-approved Transportation 2050 initiative, we see the sign behind me here, that we want to make sure we reminded people who are passing by these paving projects where their tax dollars are going towards, that we're making sure we spend them wisely and where they're very much needed. And I wouldn't be complete if I didn't note that the maintenance of our city streets is a safety issue. But it's also an economic development issue. But I would even go further and say for the residents, our 1.6 million residents, it's a quality of life issue. To make sure that how you feel about your city streets, both whether the ones that the major streets or the ones right out in front of your house, those are very important to our residents. So I wanted to give a few numbers. I know that the mayor talked a little bit about the amount of asphalt we use, and I wanted to mention that we have nearly 5,000 miles of city streets. And major streets like the ones we have here behind us in Thunderbird, we were able to do a lot of asphalt overlays and a lot of asphalt treatments to them. But altogether, we had more than 195 local street miles paved this year. Over 60 miles of major streets like Thunderbird behind us that were paved this year. And then in addition, we had more than 150 other miles of city streets that we were able to use other treatment types, because not all of the treatment types we use are the asphalt overlay. We do other different types of treatments that help extend the life of our roadways further each and every year. And then because one of the things we do in our program is we also make sure we're complying with ADA requirements to make sure that people with disabilities are able to use our city streets correctly and efficiently. So we've replaced over 5,600 wheelchair ramps around the city to upgrade them to current standards. And as you noted, the mayor noted that we've used over 500,000 tons of asphalt this year. If you look at that from how we would typically pave, that equates to about 710 football fields if you're keeping score. I know the Cardinals haven't had a great season so far here, but I think we can put in perspective that we all know what a football field's like, and we would have done a lot of paving of football fields with the work we've done. But I also wanted to mention that we've done some creative things this year as well, because we knew with the amount of work we were going to be doing in city streets, we were going to cause a lot of consternation and maybe some frustration on the part of drivers. So we've used traditional messaging like this to be able to get the word out that we are using transportation tax dollars wisely. But we also used some humorous signs out here as well, creative messaging, to make sure that people understood when they're out there, maybe they can get a laugh or a chuckle out of what's going on, because we didn't want people to be frustrated, because at the same time we've got these people working in our city streets, doing a lot of work on our city streets. We want to make sure that people drive safely around those work zones and keep themselves safe and keep our workers safe as well. Before I wrap up here, I just wanted to note a couple of the quick things too. As both the mayor and Councilwoman Williams noted, that we are not done yet. We're talking about 2019 today. This is a 5-year program that the council authorized us to do. So we're already getting ready for next year's paving season. We have 4 more years of paving like this to go on. And I want everybody to be excited about it. We're not done. We're not resting. We're getting ready for March. When the spring comes, when you'll start seeing more and more paving being done as we kick back up in our paving again. But I did want to just thank everybody for their participation today and being out here. It's a great event and a great opportunity. I know we've worked very, very hard as a city team and working with our partners and the contractors as well to make this a reality. So thank you again. And until we come back again next year for another acceleration of our paving, thank you and have a great holiday season.